All right, guys. This is Small Caps Trading Podcast, week three. I guess we can call episode three. We already went over the market cycles. This video is about day ones. Also, this is the week of May 11th. Today is Saturday, so we are talking about this past week day one gappers on this video. We're gonna dive into some of them, and we have some different categories of how much volume they did, what was the setup on them, and we're just gonna dive over. Mo is gonna kind of lay out the framework, and I'm gonna ask him a couple questions on the tickers that I have, and we're gonna call it. Mo, you wanna take over?
Right on. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. So, yeah, let me 1 second. Let me set up the screen. Sorry about that, guys. Alrighty. Here we go. Oh, I'm actually already sharing my screen, I see, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shit, I didn't realize that. I just now opened up the window where I could see the podcast. Cool. Perfect. Then here we go. So, so we got the day ones. You can see them sort of by day, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can see the volume that they traded. And next to a couple of them, I was able to sort of throw a quick definition of the move. Couldn't do it for all of them. But as you can see, Monday we had, and of course this isn't like 100% all the gappers. This is sort of just the ones. I try to catch them all. We'll see. I'll get better and better, but these are the ones I remember. TCBP was traded 41 million. Oh shit! You know what we got to add to this percentage gain at its highs. Duh. Um, so,
I mean, these all went over at least 80%.
right. They're here for a reason. They did whatever move warranted a trade. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you wanna end them next week, or you wanna go ahead do it now?
nah, next week, man.
Oh,
Yeah, we're gonna just
yeah,
it's all good. It's a work in progress. But looking at this, you can sort of see a very similar amount of volume throughout the beginning of the week, and then Wednesday onwards, you're seeing a change, right? And I want to remind everybody that last week was exactly the same. Had we done this last week, I think we would have seen that. But last week, the beginning of the week, if you go to basically the beginning of last week's episode and see how we talk about market cycle, you'll say, oh, well, the beginning of the week was weak, and then Wednesday it picked up. So it's 2 weeks in a row now that we're paying attention, and we're seeing that the volume and algos really, really come in on Wednesday. And currently in this environment, they're operating Wednesday through Friday. It would appear, right? Um, and other than that, I don't really see anything of note. Yeah, okay. We had a couple of pre-market toppers. One sweet for the opening print boys. And a squeezer, and this one did, sort of, it was a pre-market topper, and then it just gave you that versus pre-market highs in regular trading hours, and these guys got their own thing going.
So let me ask a question. Why, as far as volume, 40 million, 50 million, 30 million, and then you say Wednesday there was a change. Like, what does it tell you? Are you becoming more defensive? Oh, okay, algos are coming. Is it more aggressive? Are you not like what does it tell you to your trading when the volume increases like that?
Well, I wasn't really paying attention to it like that until now. So
Yeah.
this is something I'm realizing as I'm talking to you. So I can't really assign any, sort of I understand this from that. I'm just pointing out something that I'm noticing, and we'll take it week by week and see. But like that's what you suggested is one potential if you see that this pattern continues. But
Yeah.
for now, just noting, it doesn't necessarily mean just I don't know. What do you
All
see?
right.
Do you see anything? Does looking at this make you think of anything? That piques your interest or
No, no. I I mean, I'm trying to really work on the idea of volume. We talk a lot about the algos, like, oh, it's increasing there, like 700 candle bars. Like, I was just picking your brain, like, does that tell you anything, or is it just an observation? If it picks up, keep going like this, then you can come into some sort of conclusion. But if there is nothing, I guess we can go to TCBP and start. Mm,
Yeah, so maybe let's sort of look through them on an intraday
yeah.
thing and go chronologically and see if we get like any
Okay.
if we pick up on anything. But just let's look at them. Okay,
Okay.
so let's see. So the first one is TCBP. It's already loaded up. That's awesome. Then XBP after that. All right, so TCBP. Um, Obviously, we're talking about right here Monday, and we can see. I mean, man, they just having a ball with that $3, huh? You know what I mean? So, um, and you can see like the first one went 140 million on the volume. The next one went sort of close to 100 million, not quite. This last one was at the 40 million. Look, what is it? Who is it? Who knows? Who cares? But there you go. And as far as seeing, I bet you if we looked at this day here on 140 million, we'd probably see some sort of real developed pattern, right? But at the end of the day, we'll see the fade, and then on the daily, it gave it up, and the less volume there is, sort of it feels like the less of the pattern is developed. And at
Yeah.
this point, right, as we look at um, come on, back it up. I always gotta. There we go. Sorry. So at this point, when we get to this sort of push into the threes, it's sort of a one and done in the pre-market, and a quick pop, of the super of the whatever weak hands, and then right back. So, any
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
Well, I have two questions. One for pre-market, one for regular trading hours. So once you see this on your scanner, let's say like if you can zoom into pre-market, like from the beginning of the move, you're watching this in real time, and because sometimes you do short into those daily levels, sometimes you don't like the volume. There's some algo involved, so like I don't know if you shorted or not. Like, what was your read on it pre-market? Like, have you find your spots? Do you think that was a worth of a trade there, or do you just let it go?
I don't remember if I traded this or not.
Yeah,
But my feeling is that either I didn't or I traded small, because if I had traded this any size, I would have remembered it. So I can't take any sort of victory laps here, and tell you I did anything here. But I do remember watching it. I remember it popping, and I remember like, look, this $3.
yeah,
Come on, man, it's silly. So I think it might have been a momentary price issue with the borrows, or that maybe I couldn't believe that it was just such a one and done, and I was like those goldfish traders busy elsewhere with something else, and that's why I missed it. But I'm pretty sure I missed it. So what was your
yeah, yeah,
question
yeah. That
again? I'm
makes sense.
sorry. What was your question about this? What was there?
Well, the question was really, were there any trade? Did you see any worth of trade? Like, it was a push to the daily level, but it was really like one and done, like what you said. I didn't really trade any size either. It wasn't really much anything. And as far as going into the regular trading hours, this setup occurs sometimes, like when it really just goes back to pre-market highs. Sometimes it take over the highs and then comes back. Sometimes it doesn't, and then it just fades. Is this something that do you trade something like this, like maybe push over VWAP or like break over VWAP? Like, did you
Are you
have
trying
any?
to find? Are you trying to find some reason, some rhyme or reason?
No, not a rhyme of reason, because the way I do is really I like when these things happens. As especially if they fade it, I like to short them into VWAP, or like they do some sort of clear out to VWAP. But I don't know if you are doing it either. This is just me asking, are you trading these things?
I mean, I like look on any given week you're offered two kinds for the small cap short seller. On any given week you're offered a sort of a menu of opportunities, and it's the opportunities are going to look like, for example, the high volume day one gappers. Some
Yeah,
people love those. Some people love the low volume, midpoint gappers. That this week's midday runners all acted like that. Some people like to be in that low volume, you know what I mean? In that, I bet you this is not going to go past 30-40% kind of a crowd, and that's a great, you know what I mean? So like, it's if your question is, do I trade it? Like, I didn't trade this, but it was on my radar. I didn't catch it. Was there a trade here? Did some people catch it? Sure, but the bet is, like, if you're somehow catching this right at 3, you're fast and you're decisive, and you're just, and it's not out of the question. Like me and you, dude, we trade the looking left with as like one of our Bibles, right?
yeah,
Right or wrong?
yeah, yeah. True. Yeah,
And it's not like this is a 1 million floater. And on the day of this day one, it had a PR. It's like a 5 million. It's like a 5 million floater. So as long as it doesn't trade thin, like super thin, you're like, okay, cool. It's a 5 million floater. It's not trading like a 1 million floater. You're talking about well over 100% from the mid ones up to the 3. That's substantial. It goes right into the looking left. That's 3. So, and me and you, we use the looking left. Look, it's not like an ultimate, obviously, arbiter, but we use it extensively.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so, is there a trade there? Can I see a trade there? Can I understand why some people nailed it? Absolutely. I wish I did too. I didn't though. Like it's just too fast. It's happened too fast for me.
All right, cool. Yeah, that was it. Well,
All
congrats
right.
anybody if anybody cashed this and made money. Let's go to the
All
XBP.
right. So XBP is the next one, right? Now XBP, we got a little bit of a personal story on it. I think.
Yeah,
Um.
XBP was a good one.
Yeah. And so obviously, on XBP we're talking about, sorry, this day here,
Yeah,
right? It traded 55 million. It went from that yesterday it was in the low twos, and it gapped up into the high fours. So sort of 100% from there, but not just 100% from there. Really, the day before that, it came in on the low day with um or actually, I think that was this the low day right here. I
isn't
forget.
it the ticker that the one that you sent me a message on the day one that you said this is what loading look
I
like?
think I'll tell you which day I sent you it on. Well, what did I tell you? This is what the load looks like. Yeah,
You
yeah,
said
yeah.
this
All right,
might.
so let's show the load. Yeah, the load day. So what I had sent you was, yeah, it'd have been the light volume. It'd have been the real light volume. There it is, right here. So this was the low day. Or what do I know? But this is the day that piqued my interest, that I saw this activity over here on the 3/7s on sort of this level of volume, and then I saw this sort of a similar level of volume down here, and then it's not that I saw this on this day. I didn't see this on this day. No, 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 no.
Mhm.
But on the next day, when it went sort of its day one, it's like sort of a week. It's like, I mean, look, it went from low ones to mid twos, 100%, right? That's
Mhm.
nice, but like a low volume, quiet volume, for those like quieter side ones. Um, and then it just maintained its base, and it ran. But so where we notice it is on this day here.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which on the daily was this day over here. So when this day happened, I looked back and I noticed that the volume over here that we just showed you, and I was like, hey man, like on this day here, I was telling you, hey man, this looks like the low day. 370 sort of looks like rather similar activity. Let's watch those 370s, see if they go hit them. I said ideal situation is they go exhaust around that 3.7s and offer sort of a trade over there. So that we already had that in our mind on this day here. And then this day happened, and then pre-market over here, I sent Molly, I sent you a message. I'm like, well. Um, and it actually didn't behave like the 3.7s wasn't the spot. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, like you could see that it was a spot,
Hmm.
right? Certainly a spot on the pre-market, and to be quite fair, actually the spot for the rest of that day.
Um, for this one, I guess the question is, we did try both in the 3.7s a little bit, and once it does that para move and then creates a range in the pre-market before the open, me trading with you, my experience is like sometimes you do put a position, risk the highs. Sometimes you trade, and as it is working for you, you will either scale or like you get out if it's not working for you. This one, mine was I took a different trade than you. Like it both worked out for us. My question is, I want to tell how I traded, and I just want your opinion.
All right, hit me.
What did you see different on it? So
Yeah,
the way I approached it was basically, if you get closer to the pre-market range a little bit, um,
like this is good for you.
yeah,
You need something else.
that's perfect. That's perfect. For me, once we have that topping action pre-market, we have that range, the 930, instantly flush, and then it gives that bounce. In that moment, in my mind, after that range action, I'm convinced, and in my brain, this thing to me, next bounce is a scale. So I put all my size into the like almost like providing liquidity into that bounce. Yeah, exactly.
This is nice.
Yeah, I mean it. This is not me saying like, oh, I mean, yeah, it was a good trade, but this,
Oh, don't worry, bro. I got some stuff to say both ways on that. But go ahead.
yeah, this sometimes turns out there is no bounce. It just goes, and then high of today I get stopped. You waited because we were talking real time. You put all your size as it is moving a little bit lower, and then you hit in the
Like
39.
here, right?
Yeah, that's what you told me. And
I
then
hit
I'm
it
pretty
here.
sure, yeah. So we took
That
different
sounds about
trades.
right.
Yeah, we took different trades. I was risking just high. You were basically risking in that moment if it is working for you or not. So there was a probability I was going to wait until the highs to get out. You might get out, I don't know, some sort of higher high, higher low, whatever. So why do you wait? To me, this is very clear. I'm going to scale to bounce. So why do you wait?
Because
I mean, this is just this question. I want to know this.
yeah. Cool. So you put all your size, like you said. I mean, I'm just trying to see if I have if I sent you XPP execution so that we can see exactly. Cool. So I had all right. So cool. So small try here, no scale. Um, so again, we had 370s as a level, right? It's just
Yeah,
from said before.
yeah.
So yeah, man, 370 shows up. Yeah, I'm gonna start. You know, but it didn't give me any confirmation. Um, so I was like, ah, shit, nah. And then and then we sort of had this, and I'm like, damn. In my mind here, I'm thinking like meat on the bone because I was sort of thinking they're gonna run at 370, but they're really coming today. So like potential good better meat on the bone, but also um sort of scary, like if they stick around, man, you might be a couple bucks early. So yeah, okay, try over here to start to get in. Then over here I'm like, no, you want to push me out, you got to push me out. And so they don't push me out, and you start to draw this line over here, and over here you're like, all right, cool, we close to the line, man. I'm gonna try and get a little bit more in this area. And then once again it comes over here, and again You know me, man. You saw how I got stopped out this Friday. My stop is always gonna be not at the obvious liquidity, right? And if you like, I'm gonna give it like 5 cents, 10 cents, whatever it is, whatever, depending on what price this is trading at. But you want to push me out, and I just didn't get pushed out. But I was the whole time. To me, this is a dangerous trade because I don't feel comfortable because I don't know that they're out. And especially because I got the 370s in my mind, I'm thinking, bro, as long as we are over 370s, I'm not like, they're fine. Their cost basis, they're as far as, them being on the winning side or not. So, like, I really don't know. And so, whatever, I held it. I don't know why. I don't know if it was a mistake or not. But then I, um, take off however much amount. I honestly don't remember, man. Like Monday, man, Monday. It feels like a year ago. Um, and then here, just sort of a normal ad versus the previous channel. But then when I saw the way it like as it's going over it, I'm like, shit. What am I gonna have to deal with now, right? And then as it dropped, like right below it, I'm like, oh wow. And as it comes down here, I'm like, listen, feels weak. I don't want to be adding here. Let me now come in over here, and then from there onwards, the trade developed, and I don't honestly don't remember how I traded the rest of it. Do you know how I traded the rest of this by any
You
chance?
just covered some into that next flush, and then you hold it a little bit for more into the
I
lows, and
got
then
you.
it didn't come.
Okay. Yeah, but so this is something that we sort of was stalking in a way from like this day here. And we had that thesis about the 3 sevens for, because we looking left is one of the things that we use. And it just looked that way before all this shenanigans came in. It just looked like the obvious spot. And, that you can see like, so again, you traded it differently than me. You're saying, how did you trade this?
I was just one shot, just,
One
just
shot over here. So
yeah,
okay, cool. Right, 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 right. So here's the thing about that is that that's great, but then so it's versus the highs, right?
yeah.
And all right, cool. Shit, where did you cover?
I covered, I covered into. Well, this was my best trade this week. It just played out as I imagined. That was one of those trades. I covered into the flush. Then your mouse, like if you can, two, yeah, right there, and then I
Yeah,
shorted back the rest of the size on that
over
bounce.
here
Covered more
on
at the
this
flush.
bounce,
Yeah, covered more into the next flush. Um,
right into the 370s, bro.
yeah, this was good.
Three eighties.
Yeah, this was good. I just want to pick your brain because sometimes like this one worked out, but I also realize sometimes we are trading together and I am too convinced at something. Like I really think this sure, and then I see you are like either scaling in and out or like you're not really sure. That's why I wanted to pick your brain. But there
So
wasn't any, I guess, definitive answer to this. You were just not feeling it.
so you can see like if we go back to um, this over here, you could see that, first of all, it was Monday. You still don't really know what's going on. Now, this is a name that, first of all, I think I made good money on that trade. So I don't know like how much I wasn't feeling it. I don't know if it was my gainer of the week. I'll be ready next week. This is I'll
Yeah,
know
yeah,
to be
yeah.
ready for. But
Yeah, that was your best trade of the day. We talk about it. You
it
told me.
was.
Yeah, yeah, it
Oh,
was your best
nice,
trade.
nice. Right. I think that's the day I really wanted to try to short Jagex, and it just didn't give that
Yeah, that
volume
one
blow
did
off I
bad that
needed.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So right. So yeah, yeah, it wasn't bad. But if you look sort of at the whole beginning of the week, you see all these. I mean, basically, all of these are in the 40 million volume. So I like to like that like I haven't taught myself how to know the difference between when it's okay to hit these midpoint volume movers and when you got to watch out because they're going to turn into the big volume one, and you want to wait for the big volume one, and then see the exhaustion, the real exhaustion. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
I see.
I'm not so good at that nuance. Maybe hopefully through this process of these weekly um, reviews will I'll be able to sharpen this knife. But I could tell you that the volume just was all right, and I was really waiting on that day on Jagex, man. I was telling you all morning, I was like, bro, I'm gonna trade
Yeah,
the
I know you
maximum
were
amount of
just
share that my account allows me to trade if this thing hits like 50, 40, 50 cents on like 10 million, 15 million 20 million candles. You know what I mean? It just never did that. And XBP, I was like, all right, cool. I don't know, man. I mean, is there anything
yeah.
intelligent we should say about it?
No, I guess we're gonna talk more on LIDR because on LIDR the opposite happened. Once it comes to that, I guess I'm gonna ask the similar question. Maybe then you can kind of compare. I went full there, and then I went full there too, and then we can maybe compare some scale sizes. No scale spot.
Yeah, that's actually a really smart observation because I think my theory on LiDAR was that like if if I mean it was clear we needed to squeeze, but I said man as long as like in my mind I was like this is one of those like low volume all day faders as long as it doesn't pick up, but like okay it needed the squeeze, and so we're like cool, wait for the squeeze out, but turns out there was definitely a hand in play there, so the whole thing was sort of painted. And I don't know who thought what, but personally, I did look at it sort of from the prism of this is going to be a 40 million, mover that's just going to fade. And it developed into the opposite, which is exactly sort of the danger in um, the conviction on a thing that I mean like for a short you want to see the fight out the open, and then you want to see some hands being twisted, and now you want to know that now you could trade versus it because you're like okay the at least one tranche of shorts got taken out, preferably several tranches of shorts, and now you could trade it, right? And you could like take that level seriously as sort of a level. Um, and on XBP, you're like, okay, well, maybe this was it. Like, all right, cool, maybe. Me, man. The like, I could pretend like I mean, I'll look, and I traded it here. Obviously, I traded it here, and I got sort of tested into these wicks as we saw. But the moment that I was sure and that I was willing to take the most amount of risk was right here, as you know, and you see me do this on many occasions, where what I'm waiting for is to see a moment like when there's a they there. I'm waiting for a moment to see where they uh, quote unquote show their
Yeah.
hand, which is when they try something and they fail, and I'm like, I see you tried and failed here. Now I'm interested, but in those trades, you really take that level seriously because, like, you want to now put some size against that. That's the idea. So you can't be like I don't know. I guess anyway. Yeah. So any thoughts on this, or should we move on?
No, we should move on. This, I guess, the only thing is, once you are sure you wanted to put your size there, there is no you are trading over highs or whatever. You are basically trading off your position. If it doesn't work, you are out. Right? Same thought.
Depends. It depends on. So you have to know your tolerance for dollar pain, and then like it shouldn't be a mystery to you if you're trading versus this level here or this level here.
Yeah.
But should you know which one? Absolutely. You know,
Yeah. Okay.
can I tell you which one should it be and pretend to like have any sort of
No, no, no.
sort of?
Cool, cool.
All
Which
right,
one were
cool.
you trading off? You were trading off
I
that
was
right?
trading off the. I was trading off right here, this
Yeah.
level.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, for sure,
Now we
for
can move
sure.
on.
All right. So that was TCB. That was Monday.
Monday.
TCBP and XBP,
And
and
all right, we get to Wednesday.
All right. So Wednesday is, just like last week, it's when the algos start coming in. Right off the cuff, as you open this, you're like, cool. 1 million floater. All right, man. Well, talk to me. You got something to talk? You got something to say about
Yeah.
this?
So you pull this. Can you point me out? I guess maybe I should point you out. You tell me if I'm right or wrong,
All
because
right.
we talk about algos a lot. When do we
Mhm.
say there is algo involved in this? And
Right.
I guess it is very right off the bat. 836, 837. Once you get those candle increase in volume 300, 400, and it sustains like that, or do you think you want to see the open?
Absolutely. So there is. So we always do this where we're like, okay, question number one: is there an algo involved? That's a yes or no, or do we think, right?
Yeah.
And then question number two, like it's not just like, oh, okay, so everything is the same if there is or isn't. No, like there's forks in the road everywhere. But like if we think there's an algo in the name, then we're like, okay, is there an obvious agenda that might be at play? Right, by we'll look at looking lefts, and we'll look at filings, and we'll be like, okay, can we guess an agenda, if we can, if there's levels, if
Yeah.
there's a filing, if there's something, right? So yeah, for the pre-market, sort of 200,000-300,000 sustained per minute, that certainly is particularly sustained like this. It certainly indicates a very good possibility that there is an algo in play, with the stipulation that like this is the small volume and the big volume's coming, right? Is that fair to say?
Yep.
All right. So what I got to do now? What are you talk to me?
Um, I guess we do involve. There's an algo involved, one like low flow China name, and we have the market open. If you are looking for short, and we talk in real time, uh, the volume candles right on the open 1 million, 1 million, 2 million, 2 million. Like there's some you texted me. There's some real algo involved in this, and you avoid
Oh
it.
yeah, the volume is super high, dude. Like, cause you look 2 million, 2 million, 2 million, 2 million, and it's like $3, for like $3.50, man. Yeah, it's certainly somebody's paying up to do this. Yeah,
Um, I guess the question now is after they run with all the paintings, we have one more clear out to the highs over 450.
yes, yeah,
If you are convinced this is a short today, and what you just said 2 3 tickers ago, you said you like it when there are some shorts are out, that gives you some sort of level to like play with. I feel like this
right,
was one of those clear out because we did have a level at the open, and then it did take out those shorts. So will you
right.
want to start there, or are you still watching the algo? And no, I'm not doing anything until I see the volume down.
Um, hey baby, it's all right. It's all right. Yeah, just we got a little bit left to do. Um,
You wanna give a break?
nah, let's finish this. Hey, sweetie pie.
Daddy, I have a dollhouse.
You have a dollhouse? Congratulations, sweetie. Give daddy a little privacy, a few minutes, okay?
What's
Uh,
that?
let's give daddy a little privacy, my love. I'm gonna tell you all about it. Okay, so this I remember. So again, and I'm sad to do this theme of like I missed out, I missed out, I missed out, I missed out, but um,
No, you didn't miss this. You shorted when they are done, and you shorted the freaking top. It never went over your shorting price.
not this one. I don't think so, dude.
No, no, no. This one, you did this one, and the one you shorted on that because you messaged me that they are done on that 1040 candle. Oh wait, no, 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 not this one.
Nah, I don't
The other
think
one.
so, brother. I wish
You
I
told
wish
me
I
they
could
are
say
done, but
that.
you didn't
Oh,
short
no.
it.
Okay, now I'm remembering exactly what happened here, and let me tell you exactly what happened. Um, so, well, here's what I saw. So, when you look at it, what I noted was that, yeah, like, first of all, tremendous candles. So, definitely strong work at play here. And you could see, if there's one thing you could see, it's how good they are with the levels. So, they would, you know, create this, level, and then bounce right off of it. And now here they will create this level, and there was basically, actually, it's hard. I'm gonna be really micro zooming here. Excuse me, but like they constantly dipping right below whatever your support might be, collecting a short and going on. Here they didn't do it. Here they just sort of kept through, regular support. But here, as they built their pattern over here, sort of the obvious level was right here, and this little thing, come on, bro. Like, look, this little dip, because like obviously, as you're if you're looking at this from this perspective, obviously this is where your line would be, right? And they're just so good. Look at this. Bop, 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 whoop, and hello, new highs. Come on, bro. This is and so I remember when I was monitoring it in this time, and I was talking to you guys about this, and I kept on saying, and I said, look, man, they just dip right below and right to highs. Come on. And I was saying that they were doing that trick before, and so I said so far it's sort of the only trick that they are using, and then at this point over here something happened, and I got taken out of the screen, and I don't remember what it was,
The phone call.
but
You
then
said phone call came.
oh yeah, phone call from back at home, I think it might have been, yeah. Um, so I missed it here. But I want to imagine that what I would have done at this time, because like I kept on talking about how their trick is dip it below and then rip it to highs. And so I want to say that I'd have this line here or something whereabouts. And as they dip right below this, my mind would have been, okay, are we doing this again? Is it a dip below and a rip to highs or not? And I want to say that as I would have seen this, I would have been like, all right, now it's a bet that the one trick that they have that we were talking about is, I want to, I don't know, but how did you trade this?
I did. Yep, yep, yep. I got short. So the way I traded is the way pre-market they did their little trick open, and then right in the open I thought um they did that on the 943 candle. I guess I micros them too much. I thought the support was 935, 936, 937. They painted that highs. It instantly fell below that 943, and then it reclaimed instantly.
Right.
Are you?
Which they sort of did, but it is sort of a micro zoom. And so with these things, you often see me sort of confused which level to choose, but I end up choosing one because, um, like sometimes that's just part of the whole, chaos of it, But okay, so you were zooming in on like a smaller candle over here, and then what? I
Yeah,
mean, on
and then
this more zoomed in
we
support over
got
here.
that red candle after that, deep right below that area. Yep, and then
Yeah,
it reclaimed instantly.
yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, cool, let's go to the highs now. You guys took out that, and then it didn't. It started going lower, lower, and then the candle I showed it was they did a, what do you call? You don't want me to call them stuff candles because we don't use that language. I don't know what to call it.
No,
It's
no.
like,
This one right here.
yeah, it's about to go break out, and they stuffed it instantly.
Oh, over here.
And then I scaled it into that pop. I'm like, all right, that might be the top, and then I got stopped out, very small position on that, over that candle high. I thought that was the starter.
What? Talk to me in dollars. Where's over the candle high? Where'd you get stopped out?
Let me give you a real timestamp. I shorted at 957 candle, and then I got stopped out 384 on that 1018 candle. When it broke again, I'm like, all right, they're not done. So I bailed at 1084.
Got it. Okay, okay. Cool, cool,
I like
cool.
to try those when I know the ticker is rigged. But when I
Hmm.
see those clear out candles, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they started to exit because they use those things a lot, those clear out candles. I started to put positions on it. But to be honest, I feel like there's not that much edge in it, like 50-50. Sometimes it starts fading there, sometimes they reclaim it. It's really, that's why I was so small. And
Yeah, you never
after
know. You
that,
just yeah.
no position. I waited for a bounce. This is one of those
Right,
tickers. I keep
right.
complaining, you like, no bounce, no bounce. It just died
Yeah.
after.
Well, I mean, sort of. If you'd be trading this, then you'd be trading a failed breakout, essentially.
Yeah.
And so you would have had bounces because you would have had whether your level was 350 or 340, you would have had sort of won for this whole range. And once this comes below back into this range, and you starting to make these bets short, you making it against this range, bro. So if you could pop like I wouldn't have gotten short say right here into the 407s, but I probably would have caught some 398s or 395s, and then as this broke, yeah, I would have looked at the 380s versus the 407s over under. That's tight, man. Yeah, you start to look into it if you're focused on this night.
I
But
see. I guess that's interesting because because how small the floor is, how
yeah, I mean, but that's the game you're playing. So that was Rebin, and then C-pop. Should we? Is there more to say about Rebin, or can we jump into C-pop in the compare contrast to Rebin?
no, let's do the CPAP. There are some comparison.
So 80,000 candles. So I would assume no algo present personally.
Yeah,
Um, you know, and then as we go into right into pre-market, yeah, there's an uptick, but even the uptick is um, not if you could sustain 300,000 candle on the candle and the candle as you're like building the pattern, and then I'm like, okay, this is the beginning stage of of an algo that's coming in for something. But into the close, it feels like sort of weak, and also it's a known name. That's that kind of a name. Um, and
oh,
so
interesting. So we didn't think there's an algo pre-market.
I wouldn't appear that we would no, but like when like I personally did make the comparison to REBN, and the comparison that I made was I said, look, as because look, pre-market, no, I wouldn't have guessed,
Yeah,
but um, but like off the open, what do you get? You get the 2 million, you get the 2 million candles again on top of the 1 million
and
candles, and the price.
same price action dip. Yeah,
Exact in the same price, same. So you're like, in Rebin just happened yesterday. So you're like, okay, so this is Rebin. So what we're talking about that day is I said, look, and this is going to be really, really reminiscent of the XBP trade from Monday, right? But um, what I was saying is, look, it's doing the Rebin shuffle where it's pretending to be this algo, or it is this algo. So I was saying, as long as this trades like Rebin, I'm out. And we really looked at how
yeah,
Rebin traded the day before, and I said, as soon as it trades differently, I'm in, right? So me personally, when this happened here, right, we're like, okay, here's the game. We know the game because
yeah.
like with Redmond, okay, so we sort of got our level, right? So this opening high, this support over here, and now we're like, oh, um, here we go. And so we're like, is this the trick? Or, like basically the Rebin shuffle would be this is a trick that goes and makes new highs and now bases over those highs, right? And so I was saying, here we go. Now we're gonna find out. And as soon as it did this, like basically sort of when it did this, I think I might have already gotten in, and then as soon as it did this, I was like, yeah, here is like for sure on this candle, I was like, here's where it's different. And again, going back to the XBP trade, you see how this is the same trade, right? Or is there any questions? You
No,
wanted me
I
to pull
think
up
that
XBP again?
no, this was one of the lessons of the week, I guess, because you told me this 2 3 times in the last 6 months, and this doesn't happen that often where there is a day one gap or the day before. It's rigged. It does that reclaim. All the shorts get stopped out, and the longs get hyped like those reclaim breakout trades. And the next day
Mm,
happens. We don't. That doesn't happen. Same scenario, but I don't know if you showed it because of that dynamic. I showed it little because of that dynamic. I didn't think it was gonna break out. Um,
right. And
and I
go
want
ahead.
to
Sorry.
give the date for the people who is watching. I think it was AUUD and LASE. That dynamic happened like what CBEN and CPOP, REBN and CPOP did. I do like when you told me that, like, if something became too obvious the day prior and there's a similar price action the next day, there's a higher chance it will not happen because of how uh, shorts get
Bro-
hurt the day before, so nobody really want to short that anymore. That
Right, broadly speaking, for sure. But the art there, sort of the secret sauce there, is knowing when to
yeah.
look at a situation and say that you think that now it's applicable to say, well, what happened yesterday, they're going to expect happens today. Therefore, I think it won't happen. So the secret sauce is in knowing when to apply that. You don't come in every day and say opposite of yesterday is going to happen. But for sure, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's why I wanted to give the dates, because this doesn't really happen that often. It happens rarely. Because if you can't really apply, that's gonna happen all the time. Because it did happen the same thing on S1 names. It traded similar, which we're gonna go over.
Yeah, it doesn't happen as that
Yeah.
rarely.
Yeah.
It's not a big portion of the things that happen, but it happens on a regular basis. Like where we, are chasing the last thing, and therefore that's not going to work out. Sure,
Um, LADR.
right, last one, and we're done. How long are we? What? How long has this been so far, man?
It's been an hour. We ended up being long. I mean, there's a lot of ticker. I think we trying to do quicker.
Yeah, shit. We'll see what happens. All right, so
LADR.
lidar, but I mean, like 200 million volumes, so it's just an algo,
It is.
regardless of news or no news. So I know that we were looking at lidar in the morning, and we're like, well, this might be the one that like is. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we're like, well, this feels like the one that like is like a quiet fader, all day fader, as long as the volume, stays away from it. And we had some comparison about ones that sort of, peaked pre-market, then came back and did a little visit, and then either didn't even come back at all, or normally just a quick little pop and all the way back down. So we're looking at it as potentially that, but for some reason we were thinking to ourselves, we were saying that on a day where there's action,
No
you
action.
know, this would be it. Yesterday there wasn't the type of action where we basically thought that people are looking at this as a short, so we're like, let them squeeze out, right? And so, because you kept on seeing this, you're like, okay, it's tightening up. That we got 1 million volumes. Like, yeah, the range isn't really high. It's gapping from 1.2s to 1.7s, so it's really not that high on a percentage basis. Um, and you have the pre-market levels before, but like volume is not nothing. Like you get multiple ones, so we're saying, okay, this needs a blowout, right? This is where we're saying it needs a blowout, and then maybe we get. I foolishly thought maybe we get. It goes back to its like all day fader potential, and we were looking left, and as the squeeze happened, we were like, yay, we're so smart, you know.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, so where's the looking left area, right? So again, if we're looking at this way, um, I'm not sure really where you would have had the levels. I think I was talking about 220s throughout the day, so I must have had something around the 220s. But I would have sort of looked at it sort of this way: two tens, two fives, right? So as we're hoping for the squeeze out to come, and we're seeing the squeeze out coming, and we're like, yay, yay, yay. So now sort of this action happens, and we're like, wow, a 2 million volume candle, still like, but you see, still sustained volume, right? So I remember that at this point we're starting to talk about it, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Feels
Yeah.
pretty still controlled though. So personally, I got short here because I had the level here, and and we saw. I sort of saw like a big candle, and I was like, okay, cool. Let's see if we're if I can start to sort of get backside, right? So I probably hit it somewhere here, and here, and here, and then right here, my conviction, like. I mean, I can't personally say, but like I didn't cover here, right? And I was like, shit, I'm gonna hold on and see if this is one of those, squeeze outs, or if I'm like, shit, I gotta take the loss. And it goes, like it had a real fight over here, and you can see another really substantial candle. And as it went up, as it came back down, I'm still holding my
I
position. Like
started there too. Where
you
it
started right here,
yep, yep.
right? So I covered right where you started, right here, correct?
Yeah.
Because after it came back down from here, I'm like, bro, I think I dodged a bullet because it's still holding. And so I got out here. You
How do you
started
decide
here.
it that quickly? It's holding in less than a minute like that.
So you hear this word thrown around, soaking, 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 soaking. And it
Yeah.
takes you, I don't know, like me, it took me like maybe 2 years to understand that word.
Yeah.
Some people, maybe they're smart, they figure out in a couple of months. But like, this action is not natural. So if you just use that as a baseline, and so you understand this is intentional. So if you see that they're sort of protecting this area over here, this like $2, over under. If this is like a 3 million absolute, squeeze out of all the shorts, longs and gone, then dude, it ain't soaking over here, man. It's going over here. And then maybe popping up here, and then you get short here, and then it goes, lows. This is soaking. And I don't really know how to teach, it just is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get out here, you start in here. I fall for the obvious trap, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. I put on a starter here again, and then I get popped here on the starter,
Yeah.
right?
I stumbled on that high too.
Did you?
Yeah. Not over you, like on that candle high.
Here?
No, no, no. On you, like when it's yeah,
Oh,
right there.
here.
Yeah, yeah, right there.
Gotcha, 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 gotcha. Um, yeah, so
So we get that clear out, and then I'm so interested in the 220 level. Like you see these levels, and they really play out. I just don't like, to me, before you tell me those things. To me, they are just like, okay, there was like some sort of inflection point, but like you really rely that 220. Can you talk about why
right.
220?
So I was right. So these are the levels that I would have had, and then I adjust my levels throughout the day. So um, I was working with the 220 on this, correct? And so basically I had the level here where you would have seen it earlier, and then as I traded, I adjusted because okay, this is where the highs really is. This is where it sort of tried to and squeezed over and then succeeded over. On this action you could have made the um, case for like 228s, which is why I ended up working mentally with 230. Physically, I sort of work with the 220s, but mentally, I worked with the 230s, which, as you know, ended up being my stop, and I got taken out there and on the end of the day squeeze. But I was working with the 220s, and I was like, look, here I don't know. Here I'm like, okay, now it's sort of like really ramming into like this level here. So yeah, I took some 220s, and then I just sort of, as it was going down, I kept on saying like, nah, I don't know. It's a controlled walk down. The volume is still really, solid. It's not really, and it's not, you don't really see panic. You see like just control walk down. And so then I started like getting fooled over here, just thinking maybe this really is it. No, no, not here. Here. Here's where I started getting fooled.
Yeah,
Here's where they fooled me. But I never added because throughout the whole time I was saying, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like uh, you know, it feels still controlled and not like actual like sellers coming in and panicking and shorts no longer here. It just felt controlled. So I remember like over here, I started thinking maybe I'll like put some ads on versus a view up reclaim, but because it just didn't feel right. I was like, no, no, I'm gonna keep my 220s and my risk was 230s, and it grinded and grinded and grinded
right
and
there.
grinded, and I
I
got I
got
got taken out on the
I got
230s.
big. Let me tell you, this was my worst trade. Um this is the type of trade I overthink. I used to overthink a lot because it moves so slow and it doesn't feel right. I tend to like not. I don't want to. I didn't want to watch tick by tick and just like on a big picture idea. We got two clear outs, clear and then another, and then start fading. I get my bounce. I might have a conviction. Yes, I do think this is short. I don't think this is gonna pass over. I did get more in that 215s and then 220s and
What
then
what time was that of day? Sorry.
um time of the day was off. You're right. I added at 1:30 and then 2 p.m. So my average was 215. I thought we were gonna get below
Ah,
180s. I thought
okay,
this was gonna
got
be.
you. Yeah,
fake.
working with the same sort of 220s I was working with.
I got stopped 250s like on the high of the day basically. I didn't
Okay, so
hold it.
you went from here to higher day. Okay, so that's a little painful. Yeah, damn.
It was awful.
And you were able to fill. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, it looks awful. Were you able to fill around the 250s or?
Well, at that point it did become obvious. I took like quarter off into 40s, and then yeah, my
Oh,
stop my
good.
stop hit my stop hit on 254 exact. Sometimes it
Oh,
gets slippage. I
nice.
don't know. I didn't
All right,
slip.
but you didn't
I
get
didn't get
slippage on this at
slippages.
least. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, man. All right, so I think that's it for the day one gappers. Anything you want to say before we, you know?
On LADR, the reason you wanted to stop out at 230 is because 220 is the obvious level. You don't want to put 221,
Correct.
which is some wiggle room,
Correct.
right? And
And I was talking so much shit over here, right?
yeah,
Because you knew what my stop was, and so as this was happening, I was like, ha ha ha, 3 cents away, can't get my stop, and ha ha
yeah,
ha, 2 cents away, can't get my stop. Yeah, and it was because I didn't want to get like stopped out on a wick, right? So like you could have sort of like put it here and you would have gotten 223s because I never talk about I talk about
yeah,
220s, not 220, right?
yeah.
It's always two twos. So I got the two twos is where I'm trying to be at. So yeah, I'm a risk 2-3, sure. And I got taken out right here, right here. I got taken
And
out.
this stop out for you, it didn't work. But if that 230 reclaim, and I want to make a scenario because I was gonna ask this real time, but I was also getting stopped out, so I didn't really have
Uh,
focus.
uh, uh, uh.
If you get stop out, right, and then you get clear out into 210s, and then you get a bounce to 215s, will you still hit that, risking that 230s again wherever you stopped out in that scenario?
It really depends on the type of sort of stuff action. I'd have to believe it.
Okay, so if you do, okay, fair answer. Yeah, I mean there is no way to make it.
Yeah,
All right, cool. Well, I think all right,
yeah.
that's it. Let's move on. This is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you stayed this long,
All right, all right.
all right.
Later.